Good evening. I'm online and I'm on the air, bringing you guys another art tutorial, because I strongly believe that education should be free. Some places it is, but not here in corporate America. In this tutorial, I wanted to cover some basic modeling tools, some of the basic modeling tools that are available in Maya, and I was going to demonstrate those tools by modeling a human hand. Now, first things first, I need to get an image in here. I'll use a plane. I'll create a layer over here, and I'll set make this layer my orthographic image there. If I select that plane and go to add selected image, that sets that plane to that specific layer, and you can like toggle the visibility. You change it into a reference object, wherever you want. Now the pros and cons of this: when it's a reference object or template, that makes it so you can't like accidentally select it or move it or do anything to it. It's like very useful when you're modeling with lots of assets on your screen, keeping things organized in layers. Now over here, you can access. I'll show you guys how to access the hypershade window. You can access it from the lower left over here, but my window is too small, so I can't really access it over here. So I'll go over to Windows over here to access the hypershade. And what hypershade does is it allows you to like select textures and apply them to your 3D objects. Now if you right-click it or open the attributes or double-click it, open the attributes, you can see all the different attributes for your different textures. And you have like a Blinn texture and a Lambert texture. These are like two basic textures you can use. Now the difference between Blinn and Lambert is, well, most of the attributes are pretty much the same, but with the Blinn you can access the specularity channel, and that essentially controls how shiny your texture is. Lambert doesn't seem to have that property, so well, for an orthographic I guess you don't really need the specularity. So, and it's also kind of like a bit easier, but Blinn gives me a bit more control, so I'm gonna use Blinn. You can use Lambert if you want, it doesn't really matter. Now, the control color is kind of like diffuse and max, and lets you like control your colors. I'm gonna add my image to the color channel here, and it should show up here. If it's not showing up, it's because the texture thing inside your viewport is not turned on. You're gonna have to go into your viewport texture thing in order to turn it on. Now, navigational controls, you press Alt and the left, middle, and right click buttons in order to like pan, scale, and zoom. In Max, all modeling tools are in modifiers. In Maya it's different. It's kind of like an on object. It's already on the object and ready to use. You just gotta like right click it and go to the right menu to use the modifying tools for it. I just noticed that my hand ortho image is a little skewed. So what I'm gonna do is I need to check the size of my image, and my image size has these dimensions, and when I go into Maya, my image plane is like a perfect square, but if I change the image plane to the same dimensions of the image size of the original image, that should fix the skewing. Okay, now that's all fixed up. let's start with the finger. Now, in order to create a box, well, you switch it over to the polygons tab, and then you have a bunch of basic primitives. You can pull out a box like so, move it, scale it, position it so it's ready to go, ready to be modeled. I'm gonna start off by modeling one of the fingers. I know it seems like an odd thing to do, but I've tried modeling from the palm first, and from the fingers. I guess you can do it either way. I just find doing the fingers, each individual finger first, is a lot faster and easier and more efficient, because managing the orientation and position of all 5 of those digits is a little weird and awkward and tricky. This is just easier to manage if you start with small stuff. Well, at least for modeling a hand, this is what I find. So you position your finger. I'm gonna start with the middle finger, the finger that you use to curse at people. I'm gonna pull out these menus. It's neat the way you can pull out these menus. So I'm pulling them out so I don't always have to go back and open up the menu to select all my different operations. If I keep them open, leave them open, then I can access the operations whenever I want, whenever I need to. Faster, easier. And we're gonna need to either extrude this. I need to extrude it. I also need to add some edge loops. So the extrude tool is essentially going to take an element and extrude it. I like to extrude from faces or polygons, whatever you want to call them. Apply the extrude and just use the move tool to position it wherever. Move and rotate. So using multiple viewports, I can figure out where I want to position the next extrusion concisely. So when I'm generating these polygons, I need to generate it in a manner which it takes up the same form of the image as demonstrated before with my other 3D Max. It's a same basic idea, basic box modeling. Now with the insert edge loop tool, this is also under the edit mesh menu. You can insert an edge loop wherever you want. There are 2 different ways that you can do this. You can extrude it a bunch of times in order to get the basic form of your finger, or you can make a huge block and just divide it up like this. It doesn't really matter which way you approach it. The best thing to do is do it in a manner of which you feel most comfortable with, and which would be the fastest, most efficient way of doing things, whichever way that may be. Things that are quick and efficient for one person may not be quick and efficient for another person, so on and so forth.